Two teams from Mount Lavinia clash at Malalasekara Mawatha in London Place, as we see St. Thomas's College taking on Science College in the Dialog Schools Rugby knockout competition. The heat here at London Place, well, it's scorching, and there seems to be no signs of rain whatsoever. However, the sun is beating, and it's beating hard on us here at London Place. Conditions here at London Place look sublime for running rugby, and I'm sure both teams will be licking their lips as they come out to this field, with a temperature reaching a maximum of 31 scheduled and a minimum of 26, where I highly doubt we would be going anywhere close to that. But there seems to be a bit of wind around, with the flags doing their thing as the two teams prepare for this all-important pre-quarterfinal knockout game, because both teams know that anything but a win will be enough as they aim to progress through to the quarterfinals. Both teams from Mount Lavinia, and both teams will no doubt be vying for supremacy in what could be called a Mount Lavinia derby. Well, there are plenty of games lined up to be happening today, and in fact 4 of them from 4 different venues. 3 games will be played simultaneously, while St. Anthony's take on Trinity College from right here at 18:30, that's 6:30 p.m, with all the other games scheduled to kick off at 4:15 and 4 p.m. Zahira take on Vidyartha, Isipatana play Sri Sumangala, and of course this game Science versus St. Thomas's, and then later on it'll be Trinity playing St. Anthony's. Plenty of rugby action lined up as we bring you all of this action on Sri Lanka's #1 sports channel, ThePapare. The winners from the last 10 years, Science College sneaking in there with 1 victory. Wesley and St. Joseph's are the other teams with a solitary win, while it's dominated by Isipatana with 4 wins, and St. Peter's College with 3 wins is this Dialog Schools Rugby knockout competition. Well, all of these teams will be vying for supremacy and glory as they take on each other. And there were a couple of games that took place yesterday. St. Joseph's went down to Wesley College at the Royal Complex, 36 points to 23. The Josephians were leading at Lemons 18 points to 17. But a sublime second half showing by Wesley saw them getting the better out of St. Joseph's. And of course, DS Senanayaka College made easy work out of Dharmaraja. Even though the score reads 48 points to 29, DS were made to work somewhat for their victory, as Wesley and DS make their way into the quarterfinal stages, and all the other teams who are set to battle today will be eyeing their positions in that quarterfinal. Before we go any further, we will go in for a quick commercial break and be back on the other side with more stats, team lineups and action. Welcome back to this live telecast from London Place as we see both teams just running through their final warm-ups. Conditions here at London Place look really hot, and we are expecting this to have a bit of an impact on the players as the game progresses. But the only good thing would be that by the looks of it, there doesn't seem to be any rain around, and we will be hoping that the rain stays away throughout this next 70 minutes of rugby, as I have Shanaka alongside me in the commentary box. Shanaka, tough fixture for both teams, and both teams coming out from Mount Lavinia, making the long trip. What sort of a game would you expect from the two teams?
Yes, it is a derby, isn't it? It's the battle for supremacy at the Mount Lavinia headquarters. And it's going to be an interesting match because both these teams seem to have similar characteristics from last year. They look like they're going to be running a little bit more than they did last year as well. So it's also interesting to note, Romario, what you said about the weather conditions. It is beastly hot out there, and you can see the ground conditions as well. There's been a lot of rain, and a lot of teams have been training on this pitch. So you can see how the pitch has been cut up quite a bit, and you can see those brown patches which are not ideal. The CR ground is usually not something that looks like this, so it just shows what the underfoot conditions are going to be like. And what the coaches seem to have been doing, Anuranga Valpola and his team for St. Thomas's, and Lasindu Ishan Karunathilaka and his team for Science College, it looks very much like they've shortened the warm-up. They're not going as hard into the warm-up, and they're not doing it as long, not as intensely as you might otherwise get. So it looks like they're adapting to conditions as well, and I hope that we will get something of a fast running game because of these ground conditions from both these teams.
Indeed, I think adapting to the conditions is one thing that all the coaches have been doing throughout this season, as we see the launch of the Dialog Schools rugby season for 2025. The press conference took place during the last weekend with all of the officials and dignitaries alongside the skippers from all of the teams participating, with Dulaj Navodya and his compatriot from Isipatana bringing in the trophy. The top segment team captains and the skippers from the segment 2 as well lining up for this momentous kickoff of the Dialog Schools rugby season, proudly sponsored by Dialog. There are plenty of other co-sponsors as well back in this competition, as they always do, Shanaka.
Yes, it's nice to see everyone coming forward for what is probably the most look forward to competition in all of Sri Lanka. Romario, I don't think that's too much to state. I don't think anyone really looks forward to this cricket season. The big matches maybe, but the season overall, I think this is what it's all about.
Indeed, a lot of expectations on the shoulders of the youngsters as they kick off this season in April, and it goes through till August, with the knockouts of course have been shifted from being played after the league to be brought and be played before the league. I think that makes quite a big difference, because now we have all the teams participating, and it's also a good hit out for the players before the all-important league.
Well, it is, and it also isn't it, Romario, because the knockout trophy is something that is usually played at the end of the season. Traditionally, it doesn't matter what happened in the league, because knockout rugby means that one team can come through and beat all the comers despite whatever their position was in the league tournament. So I think it's always nice to have the league behind you when you come into the knockouts. But of course, there have been several logistical issues, administrative issues that have led to this decision. And it's the first time of asking that they're doing this. So let's see how it goes. And as you said, it's an opportunity for all the teams to come come through. But because because it's knockout rugby, some teams will get only one game, some teams will get two games, some teams will get a maximum of 3 games in the preseason. So there's a little bit of inequity in how that will show up, and some teams would have had to play much more intense rugby before they get into the league. So how that will affect them as well is something that we will have to wait and see at this inaugural experiment stage.
Indeed. Well, if it comes off, kudos to the organizers, but if not, I'm sure there'll be a lot of criticism thrown at them. But having said that, I think injuries too also could happen in even a one-off game. So there are plenty of things to take into account, but all of that will be behind us as we prepare for kickoff. And these are the league groups. St. Peter's, DS, Wesley, Science, St. Anthony's and Ananda College in Group A. Isipatana, St. Thomas's, Zahira, Dharmaraja, Kingswood and Mahanama in Group B. Royal, Trinity, Vidyartha, St. Joseph's, Sri Sumangala and Thurston in Group C. Shanaka, what do you think it's the group of death, and what do you think is the easier group?
Well, I think Group A is probably the toughest one, isn't it? Because all the teams are pretty evenly matched. St. Peter's really good from last year. They would have had a few leftovers. Vishenka Silva was outstanding last year, and as a captain, let's see whether he'll get even better. DS and Anayaka have a lot to play for. They disappointed themselves last year and will be wanting to come back in very strong showing this time. I think they thought they could have gone a step further than they did last year. And Wesley College, I had a lot of time for this Wesley team last year, and I think a lot of them would have matured, a lot of them staying on in this competition. They're going to be excellent, and we'll see what Science has to offer today and St. Anthony's to offer today as well. Isipatana, of course, they're going to make any team really work to get to the top of that league, so look at them to come up tops. But St. Thomas's, Zahira, Dharmaraj, all a lot of interesting clashes, I think, that could happen there. Watch out for that Mahanama team to be one of the giant killers. And of course, Royal and Trinity in the same group. Once again, that won't please the old boys of either of those teams. Vidyartha, St. Joseph's have fallen off a little bit from where they used to be, but look at Sri Sumangala, just like Mahanama, to be one of the teams that we want to watch out for this time.
Indeed, plenty of action lined up. Before we go any further, we will go in for a quick commercial break and be back with team news and kickoff on the other side. Hi, Al. Nice to see you.
What is the finish? Sorry. Thanks. Thank you. Very good afternoon and welcome back to the CRNFC grounds. You're on the day 2 of this pre-quarterfinal lineup in this Dialog Schools knockout tournament. As we were talking about just before we went into the break, the knockout tournament preceding the league tournament this time, and it is a battle of Mount Lavinia that kicks us off on this double-header Saturday. It's been a long while since I've seen knockout rugby played under lights as well, probably since I was about 13 years old, I think. And St. Thomas's were definitely part of that back in their glory years of 89 to 91. But this team, Mayank Adas and the rest of the Chargers, led by Venuka Kure, will be out there against their neighbours from Mount Lavinia. It is a derby game, and these games are known to be intense. They're known to be furious, and we will be seeing exactly that as St. Thomas's kick off in their black and blue hoops against the Maroons of Science College. Mayank Adas to get us underway. It's a bit of a flat kick, to say the least, but a big hit coming in, forcing the error from Science College. It was Ridunka Dabare that got smashed, knocked the ball on, and it will be the first scrum of the game. So important to see how this first scrum goes, especially for St. Thomas's, who are fielding a bigger team, Romario.
Indeed, Shanak. Also, we need to take into account that it's the under-19 rule variation, and the shove can come only for 1.5 meters. So that will play a massive role as the season progresses.
Experienced man Sithil Pereira on the near side. Captain Venuka Vikramasuriya with his first touch on to last year's captain's brother, Udan Bulat Sinhala. And this time it's Ahaliagoda who manages to lay the ball back, and the dangerous Mikhail Karunaratne. Imran Hassan. Vikramasuriya. Here's Ahaliagoda again. Still staying on his feet, taking it inside the 22. Good continuity from the Thomians. Nice low tackle that time from Hiruka Edrisinghe. Third carry for Ahaliagoda. He's doing a bit of work. Nice little ball away to Sanesh Kaliyanagunawardana, and now Dias in for the corner. Can he get there? Just short. Ball in the hands. This time Udan Bulat Sinhala goes for the line. And the try is scored. They managed to get over, and it's Mikhail Karunaratne who comes up with the ball. Really good work from St. Thomas's from the kickoff, dominating from that first scrum. Got clean ball out, and some excellent carries from Chanut Ahaliagoda in the number 13 jumper. And Sanesh Kaliyanagunawardana making the break that counted, and getting it away to Mayank Adas to go in and almost score the try, but his forwards got there and did the job in the end.
Good continuity by St. Thomas's College. They did not get flustered. They kept the ball in hand, and the forwards got in to the fray after the hard work was done by after the break was made by the winger. And the first Amana Bank try coming in for St. Thomas's College by Mikhail Karunaratne.
So top kick will really test the abilities of Dias. And it's good. It's a wonderful kick in the end from the worst part of the field for a left-footed kicker. And really good to see the Thomian midfield that finished the season last year, Romario, Sanesh Kaliyanagunawardana and Chanut Ahaliagoda, both youngsters who've used a close season to good effect.
Yes, I think Lianagunawardana had a standout season last year as well, and seems to have started off from where he left off. It's good to see the two centers combining, and there were some good carries as well by the player in the number 13 jumper, and he made good headway as well.
Good return from the Thomians, and now a chance for the dangerous Science College runners to hit back in this game. Bosit Dandula was the man who took the ball into contact, stepping back infield was Minula Abesekara. One out runners from Science College. Here's the big man. They're looking for Tarusha Gallage that time, who makes a good carry almost up to the halfway mark. Nice ball, but just getting in the way was the Thomian defender. Lucky to get away with that. It's a bit scrappy, thrown back in field, but intercepted that time by Dilru and Pereira. This is good continuity from Science. They've been going backwards, but they've kept the ball in hand. And scrum half Methuka Edirisinghe manages to get it away. Here's Gallage again with a big bust. Thomian defense closes him down. Another nice offload that time by Mirula Bedira, the number 12 jersey. And Imran Hassan steals it, but not legally.
Science College doing well to keep hold of the ball, but just unable to break the line and make any headway, given that the bigger Thomian players, as they hit the ball carrier, they no doubt push them and shove them backwards as well. But it's good to see that Science is somehow trying to hold on to position without trying to do too many flashy things, but just unable to make that breakthrough.
Have the penalty and have field position as well now, just inside the Thomian territory, a few meters ahead of the 40-meter mark. First line out of the game. Nicely taken that time by Udan Gamage. St. Thomas is trying to get in and steal it, but referee calling themselves off, and that time just a little bit of miscommunication from the winger, running hard onto the ball. Had the right idea, but just couldn't get the ball through the hands.
Great idea there by the winger. I think the play was called by the first receiver on the far side, and he had the winger on the same page as well. Just unable to get the ball and transfer it through the hands fast enough was the Science College first receiver on that far side. And now St. Thomas's again, this time with their second scrum feed.
Look for Karunaratne off the back as Bulat Singhale in the crowd takes pictures of his brother, and that's exactly what we thought he'll do. Mikael Karunaratne coming off the back. Beautiful hands that time, and Liana Gunawardena making a bust. Venuka Vikramasuriya snipes. Has no option, so needs to go himself. Udan Bulat Singhale has to play scrum half, and Imran Hassan deputizes at fly half. Here's Vikramasuriya again. Aiden Amaravira. Karunaratne that time. Short ball to Liana Gunawardena. Sitil Pereira this time. Felled in a good tackle by Udan Gamage. Here's the smallest of the Thomian front row hooker, Ayan Pereira. Halia got the carries, but pushed back strongly by the Science defense. Bulat Singhale behind the first man to Thomian winger, who steps off his right foot a couple of times, and Avishka Pereira will go for the line, go under the posts. Wonderful run by Avishka Pereira. He threatened a few times last season, but this time we've seen the best of him with his first touch.
The second Amana Bank try coming for St. Thomas's College. Avishka Pereira, once he stepped back inside against the grain, a massive yawning gap opened up with the inside defenders. Just taking a bit too long to close things up. And once Kure went, there was no stopping him. Even the fullback, he just ran around him, ran in circles and dotted down for St. Thomas's second Amana Bank try. And they go into a quite a handsome lead.
Referee wanting to have a bit of a word here. Looks like there might be a bit of an injury worry for one of the Science College players. Lovely run from Avishka. And if you wonder why he's playing on the right wing and wearing number 11, you saw it exactly why that is. Because his strongest step is off the right foot. And he manages to make 2 right foot steps to come back into the field of play. And that's why he's playing on the right wing rather. He's wearing the wrong jersey number for a right winger, but he's playing there, and you can see exactly why the coach has chosen to play him there. Mayank Dias wearing 14, but on the left side. And the experienced Takit Kurea as well hasn't had to do much yet, the fullback. But Science will use this to regroup just a little bit. You can see that their water carriers are getting in the way there, making sure that the team doesn't get too demoralized.
St. Thomas's College doing really good. All of this was on the back of that number 8 break, where they did gain some good meters thanks to Mikhail. And then for a moment I thought that by slowing things down an opportunity would have been lost. But somehow the Thomians sent the ball to the left hand side, and once they were coming back to the right hand side of the field, the winger decided to take things into his own hands and stepped his way through for the second Amana Bank try.
So Dilruwan Pereira for the number 13 for Science College, getting that magic bag of ice to the back of his neck. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. He's made a few good tackles so far. And Dias slots in the much easier conversion. And it's 14 points to nil with the 9th minute of play going at the moment.
Quite a side-on stance to begin with for the kicker, but he somehow curves his run, his lead up to the kick, and he has been spot on 2 out of 2 within the first 10 minutes of the game.
Well, he's been waiting for this for a long time, Romario, I can tell you that much. He's been training here at the CR on his own since he was a little lad, about 10 years old, I think. So he'll be very familiar with these ground conditions. Venika Vikramasuriya puts it back to Dias, who's just on his 22, so doesn't go out. Science fielding it well and trying to shift the point of attack. Nice dummy that time. Beautiful run straight through the middle from the number 10. Cutting back in field, and that's a wonderful try. This is the try of the match so far. What a superb run from the number 10. In fact, it is Dilruwan Pereira that time. What a stunning run from him. A lovely dummy. We don't see those too often at pace. And Dilruwan Pereira getting the job done for his team, putting them on the board.
Lovely bit of play there by Dilruwan Pereira. He spotted that he had the pace on the number 13, on the Thomian number 13. And once he stepped on the gas, there was no stopping him, and 2 lovely left foot steps. And on his bike he goes underneath the post for the first Amana Bank try for Science College. Well, we surely have a game on our hands.
Well, the skipper has decided that if things are not going well, he's going to take matters into his own hands. You can see a pretty heavily strapped left knee for Dilruwan Pereira, but it won't stop him if he's going to be scoring tries like that. Just looked up, sold the dummy to Avishka Pereira, and outpaced the Thomian defense. There was plenty of cover, but as you said, Romario, those left foot steps left them for dead. Not the ideal technique. I think Dinesh Kumara standing on the sidelines will have a word with his defenders. But really brilliant try that time.
He also had the pace on Aliagoda, and once he received the ball, his run, curving run meant that Aliagoda had to just step on the accelerator to try and catch him. But once he got on the outside of Aliagoda, just showed and sent that outside defender as well. Sold a dummy, and once he was gone, well, there was no stopping him. Lovely bit of play there by Dilruwan Pereira. Quite early on though, but another contender for try of the try of the knockout, you could say.
Yeah, it was really a stunning try. You'll have to be much, much better to get a more individual try. As Senesh Gunawardena comes back after a bit of a bandage to his head. But it was the Thomian chase that time that let them down. Dias's kick was well fielded, and the line didn't come up in time, as a lot of dog legs in that defensive line. And this time, Science exits safely. Here's Mayanka Dias. Nice little ball to Ahaliagoda, but he drops it cold and he puts his hand straight to his head. Knows exactly what went wrong there.
Unforced errors. There's no doubt the try must be playing on his mind. But having said that, that was quite a dolly pass to his breadbasket. Should be holding on to those.
Well, it's something that's crept into the game, hasn't it, over the last few years, Romario, where the players are looking to spin every pass. And that was a very close pass. It was a short pass with Ahaliagoda running onto it at pace. And just a little weighted flick pass might have done the trick there. Much easier to catch as well. So that's something to look forward to see if the players learn from these little mistakes early on in their first real game of the season. Dilruwan Pereira now puts a little chip kick in. Forces. Oh, and that's knocked on, unfortunately, that time by the chasing Hiruka Edrisinghe. He's recovered from his knock.
I think the chasers have been in front, was it?
Yes, I think the referee was showing an offside. So looks like Hiruka Edrisinghe and his wing three-quarter were in front of Dilruwan Pereira when he kicked the ball. So that's why St. Thomas's were given an option to take the penalty from where the ball landed or a scrum from where it was kicked.
Taking the more closer option to the try line. Shanaga, Kavisha Dilhar from Wesley College also scored a sublime try last evening against St. Joseph's, where he stepped about 4 or 5 defenders. So some good tries coming in early on in the season.
Makai Karunaratnam beating the first man off the back of the scrum. Fortunately, the offload doesn't go to hand, and now a little bit of space opening up. The ball went backwards off the hand of Manupa Madiru. And now it's available for Science once again. Garlage gives it off to his front row partner, Lisat Nimnaka. And now it's available once again. Long ball. Cutting back in. It's available, but Science don't have a scrum half. Now they do. Here it is again. They're all lined up inside the 22. Nobody really wanted that ball, and this is why it's important for Science to just smash this one down the field and get out of their red zone. This is exactly what Dilruwan Fernando tries to do, but he's put 2 short kicks in already, Romario. Not sure whether those are tactical or whether he's suffering a bit of an injury.
Just trying to bounce the ball in front of the fullback is what he's trying to do. But the first time around, he managed to do that and got the knock on, but just his chasers were just a bit over-eager. This time around as well, he bounces it into touch.
Stolen at the top. Beautiful defensive work from the Science College line-out jumper. Here it is for Dilruwan, who puts in a much longer kick this time. Straight down the middle of the pitch, and this might be a little dangerous for the broken field runners. Akit Kure looks to thump this one up the field, and he's made the ball a little bit difficult for Bosit Dandula, who manages to put it out into touch, but a good territorial gain for the Thomians.
We'll be interested to see Shanaga there, whether the player was outside the 22 when he tried to catch the ball, and whether it knocked his hand and it went back into the 22. Because if so, it's taken back, and the line out should be inside the Science College 22.
Good spot there, Amari. If you can see a very quick replay of that, we'll check. But the Thomians won't mind because the net loss is maybe about 7 or 8 meters. Want to get the line out right this time. Tulsi Aluvihara will be a target, and that time it's better from the Thomian hooker Pereira. They set it up with Mikhail Karnaratna at the back. Venuka Vikramasuriya flogging his cart horses already. Nice step from Chanuta Haliagoda that time. And all over that ball is the little scrum half, Meduka Edrisinghe, but it was no way he was legal as Mayank Dias puts in a big right-footed step. Can he get into the corner? Yes, he can. That's a beautiful run by Mayank Dias. Needed to make up for that missed tackle on the other end, and boy, did he do that.
Third Amana Bank try coming up for St. Thomas's College. And well, boy oh boy, have their wingers been in some good form early on. First it was the play in the number 11 jumper Pereira, and this time around Dias showing what sort of footwork they have in their armory and the pace to burn with it.
Well, he's been in the game from the first kickoff, hasn't he, Mayank Dias? And just such an elusive runner. It didn't look like he was running very quickly that time, but managed to get round about 3 defenders. Very distinctive kicking style. Nice follow through, head over the ball, and it's a perfect afternoon for Dias so far on the attacking end of the pitch.
Makes no mistake this time around as well, does Mayank Dias. And St. Thomas's College early on in quite a handsome lead there. Stepping in and going out. And the player from the Science College team who was coming in as cover had no chance. The pace for Mayank Dias, well, he had plenty of it and he burnt his opponent on the outside.
21 points to 7. We've seen 28 points scored already in less than 20 minutes of rugby, so it's been a really entertaining game so far. Science don't seem like their body language is very positive at the moment. They'll need one moment of magic. Already got that. They need just one more to maybe bring them back into this game. Got to score a couple of points to at least get into double figures. And here's the dangerous Pereira, that time stepping off his left foot. Beating defenders, making its way past the halfway mark. Gallagher using his bulk to good effect that time. Edrisinghe asking for a willing runner. Now he gets one. Longer ball from Hiruk Edrisinghe. That's a pretty high shot from Aliagoda. He'll be lucky if the referee's missed it, but no, the referee hasn't. He's playing advantage. And Edrisinghe chooses to kick it away, knowing that the penalty is coming.
Quite an aimless kick there by the number 9 for Science College. But he knew that there was an advantage coming. Would have been better if he had tried to make something out of it without just punting it into the hands of the opponent. But that being said, St. Thomas's College conceding a penalty and through a high hit.
Unfortunately, we aren't able to hear the referees communicating with the players or each other. Hopefully that situation will remedy itself as the season wears on. Science will be happy for the opportunity to get closer to the Thomian line without too much effort. Apart from that brilliant run by Dilruwan Pereira, they haven't really spent a lot of time in the Thomian half, so the skipper looks like he's going to have to pull another rabbit out of his hat.
Proven to have magic up his sleeve, does Dilruwan Pereira. He will no doubt need his teammates to put their hands up as well.
Throwing into the line out is number 6, Sitara Madhusanka. Nice work at the top of the line out from Science College, and here they have their big number 8 off the back, Damita Hettiarachi. Now they've got runners. Stepping back into the field of play was Minuda Bedira. Here he goes again, Hettiarachi. But good tackle from his opposite number that time. Here's Garlage going again, goes straight through the middle of the Thomian defense. That's a superb run from the big prop. Lovely angle again from Dilruwan Pereira, but he's met by, again, his opposite number, the skipper. And now Garlage with the short ball inside to Lisat Nimnaka, the two prop forwards combining, but not really going too far. Nice latch that time from the Science forwards. Here's Garlage there, using him as a attacking weapon. Now it's opened up a little bit of space. Good tackle in the end by Venuka Vikramasuriya. Edri Singh. Here's the big lad, Demita Silva, still going. Hettiarachi, this is good work from Science to hold the ball up. They're in the 5-meter line, just 4 meters to go, and it's over the line, is he? Not quite. Managing to lay the ball back, it was desperately close from Edri Singh. Now they need a scrum half. And Nimnaka looks like he might want to go himself. There they go again, just short, managing to lay the ball back. The Thomian defenders lying all over that ball, so referee's arm comes up very correctly. And there's a score. Beautifully done that time. No fringe defenders for the Thomians. And in the end, it's a little scrum half, Edri Singh, who went inches short of the line, who managed to get there for the Amana Bank try.
Science College not giving up the ghost. They are fighting back, staying in the fight, staying within touching distance. And some good forward runners this time around. They did make good headway and break the line on a couple of occasions. They came extremely close as well. However, after the penalty advantage did come the way of Science College. The scrum half tried his luck, and he was the beneficiary of some good work of the forwards.
Yes, I think all the forwards can take credit. They all carried the ball, kept it alive, made sure that they placed it well also for some good quick ball as Dilruwan Pereira converts. It's been a good day for the kickers so far. We've seen 5 tries, all of them converted so far. 35 points in 24 minutes of rugby. This is knockout rugby at its best. St. Thomas's looked like they were dominant, but at the moment just a slender 7-point lead.
Indeed, they have been pegged back. The first try, we thought they would get away as they scored 2 tries in quick succession, but yet another strike by Science College, and they have been pegged back, have St. Thomas's.
Edri Singh manages to find some space. I won't say green space, but a bit of brown space, as Mayanka uses his right foot to step towards the touchline. Venuka Vikramasuriya with the box kick. The first one we've seen all afternoon. That's a good one as well. Will it hold up? And Dilruwan is forced to touch this down.
Could he have just let the ball bounce once more and see where it would go? Did not take any chances, though, Shanaka.
Well, easy for us to say here from the commentary box, but when you've no idea what's going on behind you, dotting the ball down is what is a recommended operating protocol. And Dilruwan Pereira did just that. He wouldn't mind a little bit of a break as well. If they can go into half-time just here at 21 points to 14, they'll fancy themselves. Vaninga Surya with the collection. Vikram Surya wants a little bit more protection for the ball, and that time it's Imran Hassan who gets laid on his backside by Gallage. Ayan Pereira. Vikram Surya. Here's Mikhail Karunaratne stepping back. Nice offload from him. Liana Gunavardhana. Beautiful tackle that time coming in from the number 6, Sitiska Madhusanka. Yes, St. Thomas is wanting to hit back. They've been found wanting defensively on a couple of occasions, and will be wanting to put that right. Try saving tackle that time by Sitara Madhusanka, I should say. St. Thomas is inches short here. They're lining up at the back of this ruck. All the big lads. Haliagoda is in there. Karunaratne, Sithil Pereira, all calling for it. Good desperate defense, but just not enough. As St. Thomas has come back with that ball, and that time it looks like it's Aiden Amaravira who gets the score. And all the forwards that time really smashing against Science College, and against a much bigger team, they couldn't prevent another Amana Bank try from being scored.
Yet again, another early break by Mikhail. He set up Liana Gunavardhana, and once they broke the line, the much smaller Science College defenders were backpedaling. And well, once you're backpedaling against a much larger team, it's extremely difficult to stop them. And as you see, Dias is preparing to put the conversion over, and he's successful for a 4th time. 4 out of 4 as St. Thomas's go into 28 points against Science College's 14.
It was really important for Science College not to concede after they scored that wonderful try. So that's where they have not been able to hold the Thomian forward pack. Been creating a lot of havoc up front, the Thomians, really making sure that they get beyond the gain line early on, and from then on Science College are always scrambling. So that's something that they've got to do. They've got to make the first up tackles against the bigger men like Mikhail Karunaratne and Chanutha Haliagoda. Got to make them count.
And also they need to try to somehow stop the quick ball come in the way of St. Thomas's, because once they set up and run straight and hard at the smaller defenders, well, it's extremely difficult to be stopping them.
Good exit that time from Vikramasuriya, and he puts it straight up. Out of the 4 Science College defenders, not a single one wanted it. And that time it's Vaniga Surya. In fact, it's Tulsi Aluvihara who manages to catch the bouncing ball. And it's a long raking kick across, diagonally across the field. And Science College will have the ball just outside their 22.
Again, the Science College players not taking ownership and calling for that high up and under. And once that bounced and it went backwards towards the side of the kicker as well, to the side of the Thomians. Aluvihara got up high, collected the ball, and now straight away Science College again are on the back foot and just about 23 meters away from their own try line.
Nice win at the top by Manupa Mediru. It's been really good in the line out, the number 7 for Science. Here it is for Hiruka Edrisinghe. Manages to do really well to hang on to that ball, and that's a nice pass straight out ahead of the Science winger. Nicely controlled by Akit Kure that time, with a little bit of a Lionel Messi touch, and puts in a good tackle as well on the follow-up. Bulat Sinhala makes a good tackle on Hettiarachi, driving him back. Edrisingh goes to the back. And that time it's really not a good kick from Minula Abedira. Not expecting that, I don't think. And just managed to put it into touch, but inside the 22.
By the looks of it, he did put that kick back. Not too sure why though, but was it because his teammate was on the floor? We would not really know why.
I think he might have sliced it off his boot. The Thomians will probably want to make sure they test their line out in these conditions against a good jumper in the form of Manupa Mediru. Ian Pereira goes to the front, and that time it's Jehan Wanigasuriya who wins it. Wickramasuriya to Ahaliyagoda. Ahaliyagoda with a nice short ball to Liana Gunawardena, who evades the first tackle. Nice cut back in from Mikhail Karunaratne, makes the ball available. Venuka Wickramasuriya snipes, goes around the corner, and the referee has spotted the penalty. Big Sithil Pereira goes for a run. And that time it's Karunaratne once again who trundles forward towards the line, makes it available. Karunaratne and Udan Bulat Singhale with a lovely show and dive over. Hasn't had to do much, the young fly half. But that time he knew exactly what to do with the line at his mercy. Another Amana Bank try for the Thomians.
St. Thomas's College dominating and making quite easy work out of this Science College team. Liana Gunawardena, he did set up that try early on with a good break. Low center of gravity, difficult to put him down on the floor. And even on that occasion, we saw him bouncing off a couple of defenders and making good headway. St. Thomas's College looking quite promising in this first 33 minutes of the game, Shanaka.
Well, it's early doors yet, Romario, and what has been absolutely top draw is this lad's kicking. This will be the toughest kick he's had all evening. But still the pre-quarterfinals, and it'll be dangerous to put too much into that. So Mayank Adias's first miss, and don't think he would mind that. 4 of the 5 tries that St. Thomas's have scored have been converted, and most of them from that difficult left side.
The toughest kick of the evening for Dias, and given the angle as well, as we see that replay, scrum half sniped, won the advantage, and a couple of phases later there again you can see that the gain line was breached, and once that starts to happen so often, the defenders, well, they are in strife. Bulat Singhale spotted that he had the smaller man in front of him, decided to show and go, and there was no stopping him.
Decent exit by the Thomians once again, and Coach Walpolo will be happy with that. Can only play as well as your opposition allows you to. The Thomians have been good in attack, but really will want to tighten up their defense. Regrouping, that's what Science College also needs to do, to make sure they regroup quickly after that first line of defense is breached. A little bit of a stoppage for an injury here. Looks like both forward packs have plenty to say to each other.
Unfortunately, the first 35 minutes of seeing Science College, don't see too much of a spark from them, and physicality wise as well, not the biggest team.
They've not had a lot of ball, Romario, and that's something that they will want to remedy, especially since they've got some options in the line out. Nicely stolen off the back again by Science, and once they do have the ball in hand, they look pretty decent. Here's Nimnaka Nice left-handed fend. Makes it available over the top of his head. It's a little slow from Science, but got the right idea. Just the execution needs to be a little slicker. Here's a good run from Demita Silva. Prominently carried in the lead up to their last try. Nice show again from Dilruwan Pereira, and here's the try scorer. Ball knocked out of his hand, and here's Shanesh Kalyana Gunawardena. Spots acres of space. And now it's a foot race. Seneshka will run back, but Sitara Madhusanka will get back and put in a kick. And just managed to kick it out inches away from that corner flag.
Wobbly old kick there by the flanker, but thankfully for him and for Science College, time was up in this first half. The first half dominated by St. Thomas's College, and they lead 33 points to 14. Shanaka, a good dominant show by the Tomians.
Well, yes, they have been very good. Romario, you can't take that away from them. Outstanding attacking work, especially earlier on. The big players, the experienced players coming through and putting their hand up, taking accountability for what they need to do, and they've run up a 33 points to 14 lead. Also take nothing away from the kicking of Mayanka Dias, which has added the extra points. So 12 extra points there, eight extra points that have been added on to the score, which would otherwise have read 25-14. But it just shows the importance of those kicks. And when he's called upon in the big games to put the penalties over as well, hopefully the pressure will hold. But it's been an entertaining half of rugby, that much is for sure. And we've seen, 47 points being scored in 35 minutes of rugby. We'll be back with the second half of this knockout match of the pre-quarter final, the Mount Lavinia Derby, as we prepare for another Candy Derby as well, upcoming at 6 o'clock under lights. Trinity taking on St. Anthony's.
Park Avenue, long-lasting fragrance, unshakable confidence.
වතුරත් ලීක් වෙලා ස්ලැබ් එකත් ඉවරයි. බලන්නකො දැන් සාලේ කැත. චමරි.
ස්විස්ටෙක් ඇක්වාෂීල්ඩ් 2K waterproof දැම්මා නම් වතුර කාන්දු වෙන්නෙත් නෑ. හිතටත් නිදහස්.
ස්විස්ටෙක් ඇක්වාෂීල්ඩ් 2K waterproof සීල් කරන්න හොඳම කෙනා.
Park Avenue, long-lasting fragrance, unshakable confidence.
Keep sweating. Keep pushing the limits. Keep stepping up your game. Keep shining. Keep rising. No matter what your fitness goal is, we are always there by you, with you. Iodex. Get. Spray. Go.
Creamy richness redefined. Smooth, soft, spreadable. Introducing Fondre with canola and sunflower oil.
කොහෙන් හරි කමන්නේ ෆොටෝ එක තිබ්බනම් මට මේ බිත්තියේ කැත වහගන්න තිබ්බා.
චමරි අක්කා.
පිටියට ස්විස්ටෙක් ස්කිම් කෝඩ් ගාලා ෆිනිෂ් කළා නම් ඔය ප්‍රශ්න මුකුත් නෑ.
ස්විස්ටෙක් ස්කිම් කෝට් ෆිනිෂ් එකට හොඳම කෙනා.
ලස්සන පල්ලෝකේ කොත්තු මිසර විහිදේ හික්කට සිට බැඳා ෆයිනල් ෆැෂන් දපේ හික්ක බදේ වටේ හොටල් ස්පයිසි කෙස් මාතේ රසේ ප්‍රීමා කොත්තුමි ෆාම් තමයි.
Park Avenue, long-lasting fragrance, unshakable confidence.
Radials. The road is yours.
Nava Rexona Sports Defense 72 hours order protection සමගින් පිරිමින් සඳහාමයි. Nava Rexona Sports Defense 72 hours order protection සමගින් පිරිමින් සඳහාමයි.
Creamy richness redefined. Smooth, soft, spreadable. Introducing Fondre with canola and sunflower oil.
Park Avenue, long-lasting fragrance, unshakable confidence.
කොහෙන් හරි කමන්නේ ෆොටෝ එක තිබ්බනම් මට මේ බිත්තිය කැත වහගන්න තිබ්බා.
චමරි අක්කා.
පිත්තියට ස්විස්ටෙක් ස්කිම් කෝඩ් ගාලා ෆිනිෂ් කළා නම් ඔය ප්‍රශ්න මුකුත් නැහැ.
ස්විස්ටෙක් ස්කිම් කෝට් ෆිනිෂ් එකට හොඳම කෙනා.
නව රෙක්සෝනා ස්පෝර්ට්ස් ඩිෆෙන්ස් 72 hours order protection සමගින් පිරිමින් සඳහාමයි.
Creamy richness redefined. Smooth, soft, spreadable. Introducing Fondre with canola and sunflower oil.
Park Avenue, long-lasting fragrance, unshakable confidence.
Seat Car Radials. The road is yours.
නව රෙක්සෝනා ස්පෝර්ට්ස් ඩිෆෙන්ස් 72 hours order protection සමගින් පිරිමින් සඳහාමයි.
Creamy richness redefined. Smooth, soft, spreadable. Introducing Fondre with canola and sunflower oil.
Park Avenue, long-lasting fragrance, unshakable confidence.
එක පැත්තකින් වාගෙනදී තව පැත්තකින් මතුවෙනවා. මේ ටයිල් එක බෑ. දෙක තුනක් කැඩිලත් එක්ක. චමරි අක්කා.
ජීවිත කාලය පුරාම අල්ලන් ඉන්න නම් ටයිල් අල්ලන්න ඕන ස්විස්ටෙක් ටයිල් ඇඩිසිව්.
ස්විස්ටෙක් ටයිල් ඇඩිසිව් අල්ලන්න හොඳම කෙනා.
නව රෙක්සෝනා ස්පෝර්ට්ස් ඩිෆෙන්ස් 72 hours order protection සමගින් පිරිමින් සඳහාමයි.
There is a rhythm to island life, where a walk is a dance, where there is work-life flexibility, where fun is serious, and where songs rise out of the sea. The unique and amazing facets of island living inspire us.
Bring that inspiration home. Lanka Tiles. Fine living. Redefined.
ලස්සන පල්ලෝකේ කොත්තුමි සර විහිදේ හිත් එක සිත බැඳා මාතේ ෆයිනල් ෆැෂන් දපේ
හිට් එක බදේ වටේ
හොටල් ස්පයිසි කැස් මාතේ රසේ ප්‍රීමා කොත්තුමි ෆාම් තමයි.
Seat Car Radials. The road is yours.
නව රෙක්සෝනා ස්පෝර්ට්ස් ඩිෆෙන්ස් 72 hours order protection සමගින් පිරිමින් සඳහාමයි.
Welcome back to live action here at the CRNFC grounds as we bring you pre-quarter final action from the Mount Lavinia derby. Science College taking on St. Thomas's College. St. Thomas's in a handsome lead at half-time, 33 points to 14. Science will have had plenty to do in the dressing room to address the issues that are making them go down to their neighbours. And a lot of that will have to do with regrouping and folding well in defence. Sure, Colin Denish and Lasin Duishan would have had a few words with the team. St. Thomas is making the first try through Mikhail Karunaratna. And here's a lovely solo try by Avishka Pereira. Sprint to the line. And that was a second try, converted also by Mayanka Dias, who's been very accurate, 80% off the boot. And this was a try of the first half. Dilruwan Pereira with a lovely dummy. Looks up, doesn't panic, steps twice off his left foot, leaves Venuka Vikramasuri and Mayanka Dias in the dirt as he goes in. And that just lifted Science College momentarily. But then Mayanka Dias had this wonderful run on the outside. Superb work from the little left winger. Converted his own try as well. And then Science, through their little scrum half, Methuka Edirisinghe, managed to get within a score. And that's when we thought we might have a game on our hands. But fortunately that didn't lift them enough as we come back to live action from this second half. Vikramasuriya has been judicious in how he's chosen to kick. That's a nice up and under. And Manupa manages to latch on to that ball. Dangerous bouncing ball though. Here's Hiruka to his captain, Dilruwan Pereira. That's a lovely run so far from Akila Rajapaksa, his first touch of the ball. Dilruwan manages to find a link man. That's a nice bust up the middle from Demita Silva, who's been full of running. Inside, lovely show and go again from Dilruwan Pereira. And that's a brilliant try from Science College. Manages to find some gaps. Nice little shows of the ball. Just a little movement and swerves of the hips. And Akila Rajapaksa started it off. Dilruwan Pereira finishes it off. And Science College on the board with the first Amana Bank try of the second half.
A lovely bit of play there by Dilruwan Pereira to add the finishing touches to that move from the Science College players. Early on, before that, there were some good runs as well. Making good bust-ups, breaching the gain line, not once but twice. And then once Dilruwan got his hands on the ball and he threw that massive dummy, sold it. And it was bought by the Tomian defenders as he adds the extras to his own try. 21 points, plays 33, and the game is getting closer.
Well, he scored two brilliant tries, but you got to look at him and think he's struggling a little bit, isn't it, Romario? He seems pretty knackered, especially after coming out after half-time. I wonder if he's carrying an injury, the Science College skipper. It would be pretty much all at sea without him, so they absolutely need him on the pitch. You can see why he may be playing even through an injury. But maybe that injury has prevented him from getting his conditioning up to scratch, but he has provided two brilliant sparks in this game so far. Dias with the nice restart. Taken by Manupa, and that's a really good work over the ball by Tulsi Aluvihara. Not often you hear of Aluviharas playing for St. Thomas's. They mainly make the short journey up the A9 to Trinity College, but this time, this generation of Aluvihara is moving to the blue and black.
Science College striking back straight away and putting the Thomians under a bit of pressure. And now it'll be vital that they hold on and stay without conceding a try.
Made a change. Brought on a fresh set of legs in the midfield. And he pumps those fresh legs. Looks like Seneshka Lianagunawardena might have gone off. Sithila Pereira now dragging his way towards the line. Vikramasuriya going for his second is Aiden Amaravira. Manages to get over the line, but can he dot it down? No, he can't. And you can see that the Science College boys are happy with their defensive effort, and Amaravira couldn't wrestle the ball down to the floor.
Just unable to wriggle his way through the defenders, but for the Thomians, they have an advantage coming their way. And they have opted for a scrum, Shanaka.
Devin Seneviratne in the number 23 shirt has come in place of Seneshka Lianagunawardena, and Chanut Ahaliyagoda has moved one in. So coach Anuranga Walpola looking to not risk his star player Lianagunawardena, taken him off as a precaution and give the youngster a little bit of game time. There's only going to be one place, and Mikhail Karunaratne is going to go, and that's off the blind side. But his opposite number does brilliantly to catch him. Tamita Hettiarachchi drives back the big Mikhail Karunaratne. Not rolling away. And referee having to ping Manupa for getting in the way of that ball. And it's a 5-meter line that you see. St. Thomas is just 6 meters short of the line. Chanut Ahaliyagoda with that brilliant body position. Low to the ground. Pumping those big thighs. The Thomian cricketer Kumbragarite. And Avishka Pereira stepping back in field, and he'll get his double. Dotted down. He ended up on the right wing. And seems to like this side of the field. He stayed there, Romario. And gets his second Amana Bank try, and the Thomians' first Amana Bank try of the second half.
Great step there by the win three-quarter. He had a bit of work to do to beat that last defender, and made quite easy work out of that last man. Put on a good right foot step, Avishka Pereira. As we see the replay, the ball swung out wide. Sent through the hands early on, and boy oh boy, what a step, beats a couple of players, and there was no stopping him from that range. It's good to see that the backline players are throwing the passes early on rather than just holding and try to go a couple of steps more and pass, which gives the winger a bit more time to work with.
Yes, their hands have been good, especially going right to left. Going left to right is something they might have to work on a little bit more, as Mayank Dias continues his good day with the boot. 5 out of 6 he's knocked over. And Avishka Pereira joins Dilruwan Pereira as double try scorers for the afternoon. All 4 of them, in fact, all 4 tries have been spectacular.
The wingers doing what they are supposed to be doing, finishing off and doing it in some style.
Bosit Dandula will be the man who kicks off for Science. For a team that's been down and out, they have provided some moments of magic in this game so far. Just goes to show the amount of talent that they have against a much bigger, better conditioned team. Vaniga Surya runs this one out of the 22-meter line. The Thomians have been good at the breakdown, getting there in numbers. And they go to the left foot of Dias. And here's Dandula now. Will look to bounced that ball into touch in the 22, but unfortunately for him, makes a big error of judgment and thumps it out on the full.
Trying to put in a swerving kick there, but just unable to do so. Execution letting him down on that occasion as the ball goes out on the full.
Shortened line out for the Thomians, and at that time easily won. Bulat Singalage. Haliagoda cutting back into the field of play. Karunaratne trying to free his arms, but hangs on to the ball. Sitil Pereira hang on to his ankles. Does Dilruan. Ball went back, so St. Thomas's still have it. Venuka Wickramasuriya nicely cleared from the base. Here's Aiden Amaravira, manages to get into space, into the 22-meter line, manages to hand it off to Mikhail Karunaratne. And St. Thomas's need quick ball now. Sitil Pereira thought about throwing an expansive Aaron Smith pass and then thought again and just took it forward, one out. Haliagoda gets into position. Here's Vanigasuriya. Does well to hold on to the ball that time. And Bulat Singalage thought he spotted the gap. Offside is the call from the referee. And St. Thomas is playing under advantage. Wickramasuriya. Amaravira has come into the game strongly since scoring that try. Here's Bulat Singalage. Takes it to the line. Wickramasuriya clears beautifully from the base. And it was nicely intercepted that time by Science College. Mayank Adayas flung the pass infield, hoping that someone will get on the end of it. But this is a little dangerous as Wickramasuriya goes back and does really well. Oh, that's Akit Kure rather. And I think that's been missed. But it should have been a knock-on and probably an offside penalty for St. Thomas's. For Science College rather. As Tulsi Aluvihara will go for the line. And get it over as well. So St. Thomas's pretty lucky to get that score. But also a player on the ground being treated, everybody getting in the way. A bit of a comedy of errors there, but Tulsi Aluvihara will be the beneficiary to get that next Amana Bank try.
St. Thomas's College doing really well to keep the ball alive. Not the best of passers. Went back and gathered by Aluvihara. And he had a bit of work to do. But his opposite number and the covering defender was unable to put a stop to the long-legged Tulsi Aluvihara.
Big swerve of his trunk as he charts the trajectory of the ball, Dias. And manages to squeeze it in by the left upright. And it looks like the Thomians are scoring their tries just to test how well their winger can kick.
And from what we have seen up to now, Shanagar, he has been putting on quite a show off the tee.
Well, it's been a while. Yahan Bulat Singalage was a very good kicker, had a lot of distance on his boot. But in terms of reliability, they're already showing that they might have moved up a notch.
47 points for the Thomians in 47 minutes. Science College just petering out now.
Well, we say that, but they keep coming back into the game, Romario, and just a few errors, and that was that kick from Dandula that was completely unnecessary, that allowed the Thomians back into the game. So if they can minimize their unforced errors and just get their hands on the ball a little bit, saw how well they played when they had the ball. They're just not playing very well without it. That's the problem. managing to get the ball back from that contestable kick. Here's Sitil Pereira. Mikhail Karunaratne. Vikramasuriya goes behind Ahaliagoda for Bulat Singalage to put this into touch, manages to bounce it just inches inside as Zamalka Gunaratne, recovering from his injury, patrols the touchline.
Playing a strife for science as the referee calls for time to be switched off. How far in front was the kick chaser? Well, on first viewing, I thought he was a bit in front, but the referee decided to let things progress.
Well, that's something that the assistant referee has to come in and help with, especially if the wingers are chasing. Yahan Bulat Singalage, along with some of his teammates, urging on the team he's just left behind. And first to the ball is Hiruka. As well, the young Science College scrum half. That's thumped long and low. Dias spots a little bit of a gap. He's still going. Nice offload from Mayanka Dias, and Bulat Singalage gets to the corner. It's a beautiful finish. I didn't see him going out. I think that is the next Tamana Bank try. The referees will confer. We won't hear them. But if we can see that replay, it's a beautiful offload from Dias. Getting across well to make the tackle was Dilruwan, but the try I think is good, and that's what the referees have decided as well.
Indeed, Shanak, the try is good, but how easy he could have made life for himself if he had just changed the hand of the ball he was carrying it with. He could have got the fend away as well, but somehow managed to stay inside the field of play and dot down did Bulat Singalage, as the Thomians go across the half-century mark.
52 points with two more. A chance for two more. Yes, you're absolutely right. It's something we see from a lot of players, Romario, the inability to transfer the ball from one hand to the other while in full flight. It's a skill you need to learn as a youngster. Bit difficult to develop it later on in the game, but certainly can. But just the ability to run with the ball in both hands and to transfer the ball from one side to the other so you can make the offload available. These are skills that players tend to ignore. And Mayanka Dias doesn't manage to add the conversion to his try assist there.
Seems to be tiring a bit with the heat taking a toll on the boys. But thankfully, the weather seems to be just cooling down a bit and easing out a bit. But having said that, having started at 4 p.m., the youngsters 51 minutes into the game are no doubt quite a bit tired.
Well, this would be a good moment for Coach Walpolo to try and empty his bench. Make sure he gives enough rest for the experienced players and gets a chance for more experience for his youngsters as well. With the big league tournament coming on, you'll need plenty of depth and plenty of match experience.
Yes, I think that's one thing all of these coaches will be working on throughout this season, to build depth within their squads. Because as we saw early on, the season goes from April through to August. And injuries, lack of form, they all will have its toll as the season progresses.
Sitara Madhusanka to throw in. They don't have their regular hooker as Manupa does well at the top again. And unfortunately, Hettiarachi leaves it behind. The big number 8 was eyeing up that gap in midfield to run at the new man, but just didn't take the ball with him.
Dropping it cold there on that occasion. Did the Science College attacker. Did not have too much of pressure on him. However, unable to secure things. And things are only going from bad to worse for the Science College players. And already conceded 52 points. Few changes coming in for St. Thomas's, Shanaka.
Yes, you can see another player down in back play with cramps, and few changes happening for the Thomians, just as we thought they should.
Sensible as well from the point of view of the coach. They are having quite a healthy 31-point lead buffer, and would not want to just get any players injured in the first game of the season.
Rikamasuriya to Ahaliagoda. Part of the match-winning Thomian squad from the Royal Thomian. Will be one of the few players to have the honour of doing the double if St. Thomas has managed to win the Gunaratna Trophy this season. But will Chanut Ahaliagoda get a chance to write his name down in history? We'll have to wait and see. Much more rugby to be played before that, of course. St. Thomas's setting themselves up for a chance with two of their traditional rivals, both Trinity and St. Anthony's, in the next round. One of the two will be their opponents if they get through this game, which looks very much like the likely result. But they will play either for the Canon R.S. Tiseram Trophy or the Father Rosati Trophy in the next round, potentially.
And also for a place in the knockout semi-final round. So plenty up for grabs for all of the teams who will make their way into the next round.
It will be a big step up in intensity from the pre-quarters to the quarters, that much is for sure. And coaches also left walking the tightrope between getting match practice for their colorsmen and also blooding youngsters. Science College have been good in the line out so far, but that time the lift doesn't come on time as Udan Kamage doesn't get off the ground. Here's Demita Silva, has been very good for Science today. The big second rower. Looks like going for a short tap, Udan Kamage. Does well to go to ground that time, the lanky second rower. They go short side. Dilruwan Pereira with a lovely little short ball to the on-rushing Hiruka Pereira. Good defense that time from Kyle Karunaratna, assisted by Romet Nishen. And that's Aiden Amaravira getting involved in that gang tackle. Doing very well to drive the Science College players back. Hiruka Pereira shows and steps back inside. Manages to take a couple of players with him. Dilruwan Pereira, can he get his hat-trick? It's been almost a lone hand by the Science College skipper against his neighbours. Here's Demit Silva. They drag the big number 5 to ground, and that time there's not enough of a release. So a second penalty conceded, taken quickly by Hiruka, and he's over the line. 3 players in double figures today. Meduk Edrisinghe gets his second try along with his skipper. And also Avishka Pereira. Another Amana Bank try from Methuka Edrising at the scrum half, thinking quickly.
Catches his opponent's nap-in, does the scrum half. Did not think twice, just looked up, ducked under the tackle, went low and sniped through for their fourth Amana Bank try for Science College.
Well, Omarka Gunaratna and the head coach Valpola will be very upset when they watch the video of that try, because there was absolutely no effort from the defensive line to get onto the try line and get their heads up and their knees down. Nicely done by Dilruan as he strokes that one through the uprights. And although St. Thomas's have scored 52, they have conceded almost 30. Romario, and that will be something that will leave their coaches scratching their heads.
Indeed, the defense will need a bit of work in as they progress through to the next round, because the teams they will be facing will no doubt have much better attackers on themselves, and well, the Thomians will no doubt need to tighten the screws in their defense.
Restart allowed to bounce, a cardinal error by the Science College forwards. Jason Nanidas also on the pitch for St. Thomas's, as is the front row replacement, Zoyan Hamid. It's a third generation Hamid, grandson of Captain Hamid. Science have no option but to run it from inside their 22 now, and the Thomians will be sensing blood. In fact, they go to the back and thump this one downfield. Taken safely by Avishka, whose kicking skills are a clear second to his running skills. Nice control that time by Mayank Adayas again, showing his footballing skills, controlling the ball with his thigh. And Udan Bulatsingalage will go into the scrum half berth as Mikhail Karunaratne continues to have that barnstorming afternoon. Hassan. Vikramasuriya has stayed on the pitch, and here's a Haliagoda. Runs straight into a maroon wall, and both car and wall come away with a bit of damage. Hassan. Nice work from Vaniga Surya. That time lovely offload, and Mayank Adayas with a little hip swerve gets the offload away to his skipper, but it's not the best offload. And unfortunately, Vikramasuriya spills it with the try line staring at his face.
Try line beckoning there for the skipper. Just unable to get control of that pass as it goes astray. However, St. Thomas's, they do have a second chance with the referee going back for the penalty, the advantage.
We'll have to make this one count. Science College have not dealt with the driving maul very well. But without the first choice players, what will they go to? Hamid with his first throw into the line-out. That was off the top by Manupa Meduru once again. He's been really good in the defensive line out, Romario. Scuppered quite a bit of ball for the Thomians.
Picked off on that occasion. Did really well to read the throw and just got in front of the second jumper for St. Thomas's College. Just not enough a loop on that throw by Hamid.
Well, it's been knocked on afterwards, so Mikhail Karunaratne's eyes will light up. And again, the Thomians, the issue has been continuing the quality of their play in the final quarter of this game. Fatigue has hit them, and you can't blame them because it's been a beastly hot day so far. But they will need to get their conditioning up to make sure they play as well in the final quarter as they do in the first. Hold them in good stead during the league competition, that's for sure.
It's also important that the players learn how to manage the energy they spend throughout the game without going all out in every minute of the game. They have to know when to rest and when to go all out and balance it out, because it's not just a 50 or 60 minute game, but it's a 70 minute game. And the final quarter, that's where the good teams like Isipatana and St. Peter's, they come out trumps to get over the line against their opponents, is when they bring out the energy in the last quarter.
Mikhail Karunaratne driving his legs over the line. It looks from this angle like he might have got it down, but from where the referee is, it looks very much like there were a few Science College players who cut themselves under that ball. But from that distance out, Karunaratne has got to maybe make sure he makes that a bread and butter try. But good defense from Science College in the end. Dilruwan Pereira kicks it up to the 40-meter mark. Dias catches and offloads. Vikramasuriya. And that's a little bit untidy from that pod of forwards. Here's Ahaliagoda, full of running, still going the big Thomian centre. Gets free, and Vikramasuriya. That pass was behind Bulat Singhala. He won't thank his captain for that, but here's a nice run by Devin Seneviratne, getting themselves into the 5-meter area. And Senesh Mihiranga just short once again, the Thomians. Looking for the highest score of this pre-quarter-final round, and they get it now. And it is Zoyan Hamid who manages to dot down.
Goes over for yet another Amana Bank try, as St. Thomas's College will be extremely happy with how this game stands, but no doubt they have a few things to tweak.
Well, Amana Bank have got their money's worth in this match, haven't they? Romario, it's been a truckload of tries scored. And Devin Seneviratne will step up to take over the kicking duties from the fading legs of Mayanka Dias.
And Shanaka, as the season progresses, I'm sure we will be saying Amana Bank try in our sleep as well.
Seneviratne is 1 for 1. As St. Thomas's go up to 57 points. They'll be looking to cross the 60-point mark before the 70 minutes is up.
Here's a replay there, where St. Thomas's College and Hamid managed to get over the line from such a close range. It's quite difficult to stop such a stocky hooker, as the conversion was successful. 59 points, plays 28.
Science College, unfortunately, just going through the motions at this point. There were moments they were in this game at 21 points to 14. Just before half-time, it was really important that they didn't allow St. Thomas's to score, but they did. And that 33 points to 14 lead at half-time was just a little bit too much. And although they came out and scored a brilliant try to start the second half off, it was not enough to scare the Stormian outfit. And in terms of playing without the ball, I think both teams have been pretty equal. But St. Thomas's have been much better with the ball, and they've had plenty more of it.
With the ball in hand, St. Thomas's looked quite potent. But as we were saying moments ago as well, how their defensive line forms up against a more potent attack is something we are yet to see.
Again, a good line out from Science College. They've been better with the ball from the line out. And here's Dilruwan coming from the fullback position this time. That's a nice ball. New young scrum half coming in, replacing Minula Methukedirisinghe rather, who scored 2 tries. It's Kalan Ranmira who has come in. And St. Thomas's counter-rucking well, but here he is. Methukedirisinghe is actually moved to the fly half position, and the ball bounces dangerously. St. Thomas is managing to get back just in time, and very, very lucky to win the penalty there. The Science College boys had a good chase on there, but just didn't know what to do once they got to the ball. Really dangerous bounce. Akit Kure not really tested today, but the few times that he's had to deal with some trouble, it hasn't been very convincing. Another shortened line out for the Thomians. And they go to the front that time, and it's won by Senesh Mihiranga. But it doesn't go 5 meters, that's the call. So a couple of mistakes in the line out from the replacement hooker. And Pamit Tamsara will look to his senior man, number 8. Who hooks it back, rugby league style. And Dilruwan stabs the kick through in towards the 22. Looks for the chase, and that time it's taken well by Zaidan Akbar. Playing in the backs, unlike his father, who was a star second rower for St. Thomas's back in the day. Here's Edrisinghe. Dandula. Here's Science with a little bit of space. Lovely little ball, and Manupa stepping in, makes his way inside the 22. Plenty of running left in these Science College lads. Makail Karunaratne does well to slow the ball down legally, but this time it's Demita Hettiarachchi. Damsara to Edrisinghe. Cutting infield was Praveen Ranwellage, who's a front row forward, probably the smallest in the game. Beautifully done. And he's going to get his hat-trick. Methukedirisinghe, he's the top try scorer of the day, gets his hat-trick and screams for his team to travel back to try and get one back. But it's the 70th minute of the game, and Science College, even though they haven't had many words to say, get the final word in this pre-quarter final.
Science College just managing to sneak through the tiring, fatigued Thomian defense. Quite a few substitutes came along as well, where they would have been lacking a bit of combination and communication. However, having said that, we also need to announce the Swiss Tech player of the match, Shanaka. Quite a few who put their hands up.
Yes, there were some really good performances. The front row from St. Thomas's were really good, as was their third row. Aiden Amaravira got a couple of tries as well, and Mikhail Karnaratna started things off. Venuka Vikramasuri was really good, the captain, from the base. And but I think for the amount of running he put in, for the defensive hits as well, and just for the sheer work rate that got St. Thomas's through in this game, my man of the match is Chanut Haliagoda, Romario.
Indeed, he was pretty much everywhere. As Haliagoda wins, the Swiss Tech is awarded, rather the Swiss Tech player of the match in this pre-quarter-final game, as St. Thomas's College run away with a 59 points to 33 win over Science College, and they secure the first Mount Lavinia derby.
Check the replay.
59 points to 33 reads the full-time score here at London Place, as St. Thomas's College make easy work out of Science College to win the pre-quarter final game.
First half highlights. And Dilruwan Pereira starting the first half. Second half highlights rather. Starting the second half, the way he finished the first. Brilliant try by Science College to start off that half, but St. Thomas has regrouped quickly. Mayanka Dias with a long ball out, and his second try, Avishka Pereira. Dias having a good day with the boot until he fatigued a little bit. And this try may have been a little lucky, but Tulsi Alavihara had plenty of work to do. Transferred the ball nicely like you talked about, and got over the line. Sneaking the conversion in was Dias, and here he is with another try assist, Mayanka Dias. Udan Bulatsingalage just didn't transfer the ball to make life easier for himself, and that try was scored. And the second of his hat-trick of tries, Methuk Edrisinghe just getting over from short range. Dilruwan knocking it over. And then it was Hamid who managed to get through on the far side. And Seneviratna with his first kick, getting it over as well. And the final act of the game, nice little show and go that time from the Science College scrum half, the only man to get 3 tries on the day. Hat-trick hero was Methuka Edrisinghe, moving from 9 to 10 towards the end of the game. But it was not enough from for 2 tries from Dilruwan Fernando and 3 from Methuk Edrisinghe, still not enough to peg back St. Thomas's, who scored a massive 9 tries, but also let in 5, which will be of concern for the Thomian coaches. 7 conversions to 5 conversions, all the tries converted by Dilruwan Pereira, and of course Chanut Haliagoda, the man of the match in this knockout pre-quarter final.
The Swiss Tech player of the match, Chanut Haliagoda from St. Thomas's College, as Science College fall short against St. Thomas's, as they secure a place in the quarter-final stage, and they will be lining up against the teams who take the field next, either one of them, as we have plenty of action lined up tomorrow as well. St. Peter's playing Thurston College, and Royal College taking on Kingswood College in the last 2 pre-quarter final games. Both games to be kicked off at 4 p.m.
Next match, of course, on the cards under lights will be Trinity taking on St. Anthony's. A match that would probably have normally been played in Kandy, but because of the neutral grounds that these knockout tournaments are being played on, it is being played here as a double header. So double the amount of action that you get on this Super Saturday. A derby from Mount Lavinia, which we've just seen conclude, and a derby from Kandy, which will be coming up in just a few moments. Don't forget to join us for that game as well, as we will come back to you on the Papare for a 6 o'clock kickoff.
Keep sweating. Keep pushing the limits.
Stand by for opener.
Sri Lanka's #1 sports channel, ThePapare.
3, 2, 1, roll off.
This is the Sri Lanka යාන්ත්‍රික ක්‍රීඩා නාලිකාව ThePapare සමග.
Welcome back to ThePapare.
Welcome to the live broadcast on ThePapare.
Good luck, guys. Good luck, everyone.
The Papare, Sri Lanka's #1 television sports channel.
Keep sweating. Keep pushing the limits. Keep stepping up your game. Keep shining. Keep rising. No matter what your fitness goal is, we are always there by you, with you. Iodex, get, spray, go.
Park Avenue, long-lasting fragrance, unshakable confidence.
Creamy richness redefined. Smooth, soft, spreadable. Introducing Fondre with canola and sunflower oil.
වතුරත් ලීක් වෙලා ස්ලැබ් එකත් ඉවරයි. බලන්නකො දැන් සාලේ කැත. චමරි.
ස්විස්ටෙක් ඇක්වාෂීල් 2K waterproof දැම්මනම් වතුර කාන්දු වෙන්නෙත් නෑ. හිතටත් නිදහස්.
ස්විස්ටෙක් ඇක්වාෂීල් 2K waterproofer සීල් කරන්න හොඳම කෙනා.
Our mountains are majestic. They can be life-giving. Some are even sacred, and their heights bear marks of our heritage. Our mountains elevate us. To us, they are ever inspiring.
Bring that inspiration home. Lanka Tiles. Fine living. Redefined.
නව රෙක්සෝනා ස්පෝර්ට්ස් ඩිෆෙන්ස් 72 hours order protection සමගින් පිරිමින් සඳහාමයි.
Park Avenue, long-lasting fragrance, unshakable confidence.
Seat Car Radials. The road is yours.
Park Avenue, long-lasting fragrance, unshakable confidence.
ලස්සන පල්ලෝකේ කොත්තුමි සරවිහිතේ හික්කසිත බැන්දා ෆයිනල් ෆැෂන් දපේ
හිටක බදේ වටේ
හොටල් ස්පයිසි කැස් මාතේ රසේ ප්‍රීමා කොත්තුමි ෆාම් තමයි.
Park Avenue, long-lasting fragrance, unshakable confidence.
ලස්සන පල්ලෝකේ කොත්තුමි සරවිහිතේ හික්කසිත බැන්දා ෆයිනල් ෆැෂන් දපේ
හිටක බදේ වටේ
හොටල් ස්පයිසි කැස් මාතේ රසේ ප්‍රීමා කොත්තුමි ෆාම් තමයි.
නව රෙක්සෝනා ස්පෝර්ට්ස් ඩිෆෙන්ස් 72 hours order protection සමගින් පිරිමින් සඳහාමයි.
Park Avenue, long-lasting fragrance, unshakable confidence.
Seat Car Radials. The road is yours.
Park Avenue, long-lasting fragrance, unshakable confidence.
කොහෙන් හරි කමන්නේ ෆොටෝ එක තිබ්බනම් මට මේ බිත්තිය කැත වහගන්න තිබ්බා.
චමරි අක්කා.
පිටියට ස්විස්ටෙක් ස්කිම් කෝට් ගාලා ෆිනිෂ් කළා නම් ඔය ප්‍රශ්න මුකුත් නෑ.
ස්විස්ටෙක් ස්කිම් කෝට් ෆිනිෂ් එකට හොඳම කෙනා.
Maliban lemon puff puff lemon puff Maliban lemon puff හැම සිතක්ම පිපිදේ රස lemon රසයේ ජීවිතයම මිහිරයි Maliban lemon puff puff lemon puff Maliban lemon puff Maliban lemon puff chill when lemon. නව රෙක්සෝනා ස්පෝර්ට්ස් ඩිෆෙන්ස් 72 hours order protection සමගින් පිරිමින් සඳහාමයි.
එක පැත්තකින් වාගෙනදී තව පැත්තකින් මතුවෙනවා. මේ ටයිල් එක බෑ. දෙක තුනක් කැඩිලත් එක්ක. චමරි අක්කා.
ජීවිත කාලය පුරාම අල්ලන් ඉන්න නම් ටයිල් අල්ලන්න ඕන ස්විස්ටෙක් ටයිල් ඇඩිසිව්.
ස්විස්ටෙක් ටයිල් ඇඩිසිව් අල්ලන්න හොඳම කෙනා.
Maliban lemon puff puff lemon puff Maliban lemon puff හැම සිතක්ම පිපිදේ රස lemon රසයේ ජීවිතයම මිහිරයි Maliban lemon puff puff lemon puff Maliban lemon puff Maliban lemon puff chill when lemon. නව රෙක්සෝනා ස්පෝර්ට්ස් ඩිෆෙන්ස් 72 hours order protection සමගින් පිරිමින් සඳහාමයි.
Seat Car Radials. The road is yours.
නව රෙක්සෝනා ස්පෝර්ට්ස් ඩිෆෙන්ස් 72 hours order protection සමගින් පිරිමින් සඳහාමයි.
එක පැත්තකින් වාගෙනදී තව පැත්තකින් මතුවෙනවා. මේ ටයිල් එක බෑ. දෙක තුනක් කැඩිලත් එක්ක. චමරි අක්කා.
ජීවිත කාලය පුරාම අල්ලන් ඉන්න නම් ටයිල් අල්ලන්න ඕන ස්විස්ටෙක් ටයිල් ඇඩිසිව්.
ස්විස්ටෙක් ටයිල් ඇඩිසිව් අල්ලන්න හොඳම කෙනා.
නව රෙක්සෝනා ස්පෝර්ට්ස් ඩිෆෙන්ස් 72 hours order protection සමගින් පිරිමින් සඳහාමයි.